Okay, everyone. So in this next lesson, let's talk about the switch statement. So a switch statement, we will be checking for a condition that will be evaluated once and is going to be compared to each of the cases that we have. Similar to the if-else statement, it's a bit similar with the if-else statement. However, if-else-if statements are a bit more complicated than switch statements because there are some questions that might arise. And one thing that I can say is that if you want to use a switch statement, we usually use it for one value. We just want to run a certain block of code depending on the value that we want to produce. Because with the if statements, we would want to have a parenthesis that can have multiple conditions. So usually, use switch statements when we have one value of an expression that we want to check and compare. If else statement will be more complicated when we want to check for multiple values. And we did see this in our previous lessons. You would see we do have here, we're using equality, here we're using strict equality, and we can check multiple values with the use of the if, else, else if else statements. One possible reason that you would want to prefer switch statements is that it improves easier readability, or it improves the readability of your code. So both of these are used for control flow, and we'll be making decisions based on conditions. And it really depends on the requirements of your project on whether you will be using switch statements or if-else statements. Let's try to have a look at an example. So let's try to break this down. We want to have an expression that is going to be evaluated once. So let's say I want to have a favorite color declaration here, which is going to be red. And then we want to have the value of the expression is to be compared with the values of each cases. So instead of code blocks like this, we will be using cases in our example, in the use of the switch statement. So we use the switch keyword, then we will place the condition that we have here, and we are going to go and have a case keyword, and we're going to check for what we're trying to compare, and we are looking at the color that we've assigned with the favorite color is red. And we usually also can put some text here. Let me just end that with a colon. And let's say my favorite color is red. And we want to break that statement. Then let's have here another case statement. And we can choose blue. Then let's have an echo. My favorite color is blue. And let's have another. Let's have to break this down later on. Let's just have one more. My favorite color is green. Let's add some for readability. And then we want to have a similar with the if else statement. We can have a default value if all else are not true. My favorite color is none of the above. So if we try to look at this, and let's just pull up our browser here, and let's minimize also our Visual Studio Code. Let's save that. My favorite color is red. So in our code here, we created an expression. Then the value of the expression is to be compared with the values of each cases that we have here. And if it is true, we would then be looking for, so in here, let's just put here, we are looking for a match that will be associated with the block of code. Or let's say we are looking for a match, then we execute the block of code if it is true. Okay, and then we make sure that if we can see here, we do have some break statements, and the keyword break will be breaking out this. The break keyword breaks out of the switch block, And then we also have this default value, which is something that the default value code block is executed if there will be no match. Okay, so again, similar with the else statement, if there's no match in the first if, and then the else if, we proceed to the else statement here. So as we can see here, we are getting that value red, but if, for example, we say green, we should be able to see, and I think we should have this as green, and refresh. So my favorite color is green. If I say blue, you'll see it's a lot easier to read in terms of looking at the code block that we can see here, because nesting of if else statement can be really sometimes difficult to read. So usually we want to have end of if statement at the end of the code block, just so that you won't be confused. And in here we can also check if this is going to be blue, and if we refresh, we do get that blue. But if we say orange, we should now be getting the default value. My favorite color is none of the above. Okay, so we did see that in action. So let's try to look at some more examples. And I just want to talk about the break statement here. And one thing that you will notice, we do have here, let's say I'm going to put red here, and then let's try to remove the break statement here. You would see that it's, even though we already are getting a true match or a true value for the match that we're checking, favorite color is assigned the value of red, and we're getting that value case red, and it's already true, but we're printing out on the browser the second case statement. And if we also remove this, and we did not put a break statement, it will move towards the green, the case green, and the same goes with the default value. It will print out all of the case statement code block if we do not put that break statement. So just have that in mind. So we'll need that break statement here to stop the code once the code comparison or the comparison already is a match. Now let's look at another example just to have a bit of comparison. Let's have another if statement that will be, let's have PHP, then let's have an HR here, just to at least have some more examples. Let's declare an item, and let's say I'm going to say this is going to be an item sword. So we have declared a variable expression, a variable. So we know that declaring a variable and initializing it is an expression. Then let's have that switch statement item. Let's have case 1, which will be, let's say, shield. Let's have an echo here. You collected a shield. This will help you provide extra defense. Okay, let's have a break statement there, and let's have another case sword, and we should have here colon, and let's have this echo and break indentation. That doesn't affect our code here, that's just for better readability. And you collected a sword. This will increase your attack power in battles. And let's have another break statement. Let's have another case here, and you picked up a potion, and we want to echo here, you found a health potion. This can restore your health. Let's end that, and let's have another break statement. I'm hoping you're getting the idea here already. And we have a key that we can use to, you have obtained the key. This will unlock the hidden treasure. And of course, we want to have a break here. And of course, we want to have another default value, if I can get that correctly done. Let's have an echo here. You collected something mysterious. And let's have that. And of course, we'll need to put our condition here, which is going to be checking for the item. And now, if we try to say, we can see here that you collected the sword. This will increase your attack power in battles. If we have a shield, so we can see that it stops in here on this line 107. It stops there once this is true. And if we say potion, we should be able to get that health potion. So if this is not true, we move towards this case. If this is not true, we move towards this case. And again, if that is not true, we will be moving towards the next case. And if none of them are true, so let's say mysterious item, and so you collected something mysterious. So just have that in mind. As I mentioned, switch statements and if if statements have their own purposes depending on what you want to accomplish. Sometimes switch is much better. Sometimes if statement is going to be much better in whatever logic in the application that you're trying to build, that you're trying to implement as a feature for your projects. So that's it for this lesson. Thank you, and see you on our next lesson.